Back in the day when I played basketball, played for a club, training sessions 2-3 times a week, one game a week. A lot of the training sessions that the coaches used to run, a lot of that time was spent doing things that I didn't really like to do. All I really wanted to do was the last 20-30 minutes of the training sessions, which was like a scrimmage, game situations, live type of situations. That's what I love to do the most. I like to play the game of basketball, and I love to shoot and just be, on the court doing the things that I love to do. But a lot of the drills that the coaching staff used to make us do were drills that were kind of exposing our weaknesses, getting us better as basketball players, getting us better as a team. And so things like working on the left hand, working on catch and shoot from different situations, from awkward situations, from wrong foot situations, doing a lot of fitness drills, I remember a drill called suicides, so you're running lines, running the sand dunes in off-season. These type of things are not sexy. Nobody wants to do them. And when I was, 14, 15, 16 years old, I used to hate doing that. Now that I look back at it, basically 90% of the training sessions should be that, because the training session should be challenging you, should be aimed at ironing out some of the weaknesses that you have. And the way the human mind works is that we don't really like to do the things that we are not good at. So making me do a left-hand layup is just not pleasing. I'm jumping off my weaker foot, I'm laying the ball up with my weaker hand, and obviously lots of missed shots and lots of feeling like an idiot. Today, I walked in, can't squat. I can't squat. I feel the butt wink before I even looked at the video. I feel the hip mobility. I feel my hips are locked up. The 8 sets of 5 at 180 kilos from the other day, in between 2 night shifts, has not been repaid yet. The debt has not been repaid. So I'm still kind of paying back some of those recovery points. I'm waiting for that, recovery to happen. Still, I came in, I warmed up, I did everything I usually do, and some more warm up, and I simply called it at 160 for set of 5 today. It's not going to happen today. Instead, I did the things that I used to do back in the day that I didn't like to do. The things that make everything else possible. The things that make you a better basketball player. The things that make me a better squatter. The things that make me pain-free when training. Hip flexor work. You will see later in this video all the exercises. I usually rotate these exercises. I don't do them all like I did today, all 3 of them. There's probably a bit more. I kind of try to be creative with this stuff as much as possible. The goal is to hit the hip flexors. So I do it seated with the dumbbell, I do it standing with a plate, I do it with a kettlebell, I do it with ankle weights, I do it every single way I can think of to basically target the reverse squatting. It's a reverse squat motion, right? So instead of pushing my legs away, I'm pulling my legs in. And so because I couldn't really train today, I couldn't train the squat like I wanted to, I just basically spent something like an hour messing around with these exercises today. And I'm usually I don't like showing these clips. Usually I don't even record these clips. Number 1, I don't like doing these damn exercises. And number 2, I don't like to look at them. I don't like watching myself do them on screen. So I don't record them. But, I've spoken about them at length. I've definitely showed you guys all of these exercises over the last year. They've come back at full strength. In the last month and a half, they've been a staple in my training, especially on these sessions where I'm pushing the squat really heavy. So I warm up with these exercises. Usually I don't cool down with these exercises, but today it was a warm up and a cool down because there was nothing in between. I was just not very satisfied with today's session. Not sexy at all, not excited at all, just punching the clock, doing the damn work that has to be done. Every single athlete that you see, I'm sure Ronaldo likes to get on the wing and dribble people and put it in the top corner. I'm sure Beckham likes set pieces. I'm sure Messi likes players that can 1-2 back, 1-2 back, tick-attack. I'm sure he likes to play with Xavi, Iniesta, Deco. I'm sure he loves to play with players like this. I'm sure Michael Jordan loves kicking it out to Steve Kerr. I'm sure he loves the way Rodman rebounds the ball. I'm sure LeBron would love Russell Westbrook to play really well. I'm sure he would like AD to step up and be a superstar that he is. But sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes you have to spend a lot of time doing some of those other things that nobody likes to do. The dirty work, the gym work, the running of the sand dunes, the running lines, the running of the ovals. These are the things that make you do the things you want to do. So without fitness, without you being fatigue resilient, fatigue resistant, without you having a GPP, you can't play like Russell Westbrook. You can't run up and down and average a triple-double. Over the years, I used to think to myself, man, he's just, smashing the stats. Whatever. I'm sure these guys in crappier teams in the league would love to, smash those stats because they're not winning, so what the hell are they doing? It takes extreme amount of conditioning to rebound the ball, round down the court, go coast to coast and dunk on somebody. Right? It takes a lot of, and to do that for 40 minutes a game in, game out, to average a triple-double, that's impressive. It's impressive. And this guy didn't rock up fat like some other players. He didn't rock up fat in the preseason. He rocked up fit. He was fit. He's always fit, like LeBron. Some of the things that I really admire about LeBron, he's always in damn physical shape. Does that mean he's always just shooting the ball around and doing the things he likes to do? No, man. 99% of the work that he does off camera. It's all of the prep. And so this stuff that I'm doing right now, this is the prep, which makes me squat pain-free. It makes me happy within my hips. And so as you mature as an adult, as you mature as a basketball player, soccer player, tennis player, whatever player you want to be, you realize it's some of these simple things that you have to do. Some people call it hygiene, fitness hygiene. Some of these prehab exercises we all need to do to kind of make sure that we can squat, deadlift, bench press. The first thing that comes to my mind in terms of bench pressing is face pulls, with bands, doing the YMCA, whatever the hell they're called, all these different band exercises. I've recently started doing bicep curls to keep my elbows happy because I'm doing a whole lot of benching, hip flexor work for squatting, unilateral leg work, lunges, they also keep my hips happy. All of these things are not you might have one of these favorite exercises, but most of the time you're doing, for me, I love to squat. I wish I could just damn squat and do nothing else, but it doesn't work like that. I've kind of worked out quite soon after starting this program that this thing needs to be married up with something. It needs to be married up with another exercise or another bunch of exercises to keep the damn hips healthy. Even though the squat is the number one exercise, many agree it can't exist individually. There needs to be something to counter the other musculature. I wish the hip flexors and the glute med and the anterior chain got worked with the squat, but it doesn't. Things always get left behind. And so these things that are left behind end up hurting you, man, because they just can't hold on. The force on the back of me is too strong. The glutes are way too strong for the little hip flexors at the front. And so imbalances create, ITB gets flared up because everything seems to feed into the damn ITB. And so that kind of gets pulled off of the railroad, if you will, and all of a sudden you got inflammation, pain, bursitis, all sorts of things that kind of round down the line. And you could be a numbskull. You could be a numbskull and forget about all these symptoms. Completely turn off all of the senses in your body and just ignore and just keep smelling those salts and pumping that music and going after those reps and sets. Eventually you're going to smash yourself. The reason why I've made it to 800 days is because I have listened to my body. I've had days where I've been an idiot and I've pushed and I've paid for it. It's just impossible. On a day like this, you have to come in and you have to be like, all right, today is going to be a hygiene day, a prehab day. So look at this exercise. Man, what the hell is this, man? Man, that's not fun. It's not comfortable to sit there. It's awkward. I've thought about a million different ideas about how to train the hip flexors. I've looked at sprinters. I've looked at all these different other, sports. I've tried hanging leg raises. I've tried hanging single leg raises, knee raises, you name it. I've tried, and I keep trying all these different exercises to kind of hit what makes me happy. Today I didn't record this, but I did some sit-ups to hit my hip flexors. So I did all sorts of different things because hip flexors, in my opinion, make me feel good. For you, it might not be the hip flexors. Don't think Ivan's saying hip flexors. I have hip issues, right? And I developed it because of squatting every day. I'm pushing really hard. The pushing aspect of me is being addressed every single day. So I need pulling exercises. The deadlift does train the hip flexors, especially kind of block pulls and kind of mid-shin pulls. I feel like they get absolutely annihilated through pulling motions. This is why the deadlift and the RDL and all these pulling exercises always made me feel good, is because I think, this is what I think, that the hip flexors get used when you're in that bent over position. And so they kind of made me feel good. But over time, I kind of realized that I don't have to do the deadlifting with such volume because it's so damn costly. And so I've kind of worked out these hip flexors exercises. And you pick your version, man. There's 1,000,001. Like, you can also put bands around your feet and do the marching. You can do all sorts of different things, man. And then there's also, I'm trying to think of what Louis says. The Prowler was the other one that you pull behind you. I can't think of the damn name. Where you're pulling things, you got a chain or a tire or sled pulling, sled dragging, all that type of things like that. I think they hip flexors as well. Good morning hip flexors, adios hip flexors. So you can pick whatever is not boring to you. Anything that kind of hits that anterior aspect of you. Ideally, sprinting would be the best, I think. It's just sprinting for me is like a 1 rep max. Sprinting, I've done sprinting in the past before the squat every day. It is very, very, very tiring. You do 20 sprints of 30, 40 meters, whatever you want to do, and you're smashed. Whenever you are doing a maximum effort, I'm talking about swinging your damn arms, running as hard as you can, it is very, very taxing. So I've kind of not done that for a little while. When I did sprinting, I basically ended up pulling my rectus femoris on my right leg. And that thing stuck with me, man, for a very long time. This is before the squat every day. I really hurt my rectus femoris. I don't know whether that's a common injury in sprinting, but that thing made it difficult to damn walk. So that wasn't a good thing. But still, I think hip flexors need to be addressed. Why? Well, because the glutes and the hamstrings and the lower back, all of that stuff is getting worked real hard. The quads are getting worked really hard. And so the hip flexors, I think, get neglected. Anyway, not sexy work, but absolutely necessary work. Last night, a whole bunch of names popped up on the Patreon list. Incredible. 6 names. Varun Harpal. I've butchered your name, I'm sure of it. Varun Harpal, something like this. I'm sorry, man. Michael Penarts, Grip, Isaac Hogfeld, Christian Hernandez, and Aaron Steele. Some of you guys I talk to all the time on the comments. Some of you guys always leave comments. Aaron Steele watches me religiously, and we've had some really good ideas and really good exchanges of knowledge. So it's a pleasure to see some of these guys that I talk to basically on a daily basis on Patreon as well. It's an absolute pleasure, fellas, for all the support. Like I always say, I feel blessed. I feel privileged to be part of this community, to have started all of this. We're going to work it out. We're going to work out these puzzles of ours. We're going to get better, continue bounce ideas off each other. I certainly, everything that I come up with in my mind, I share with you guys, man. Because I know that one of you guys is going to say something really clever, is going to spark something in my mind that's going to be clever. And so why wouldn't you want to just continue to pour fuel into that fire, into this fire, that this community, and always kind of pull out with a kind of better idea? Because like I said before, man, there's a lot of you guys that are watching these videos that are way, way better than me, way more experienced than me. Some of you guys are in your 50s and your 60s with 30, 40 years under the barbell. So I just want to sit there and listen to you guys. I don't care how serious you were at training. If you spend 40 years under the barbell, you're going to know a thing or two. And so, that reminds me, another really good thing, which Louis Simmons talks about in terms of hip flexors, is these box squats. I don't quite understand how they kind of target the hip flexors, but they do. It's maybe as Louis kind of teaches, sit down on the box and kind of rock back and forward. Maybe it's that rocking forward that engages the hip flexors. I'm not sure. Anyway, all the new names today, all the previous names, guys, appreciate you. It means the world to me to have so much support behind me. Let's hope tomorrow I recover a little bit better and I get after it a little bit more. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.